When creating screencasts where you want your viewer to follow along with the movements of your cursor, it can be helpful to customize the look of the cursor or apply a cursor effect to really emphasize your point. There are two cursor properties, scale and opacity, that you can adjust for any clip recorded with Camtasia. Scale changes the size of the cursor, and opacity makes the cursor visible or not. You can reset any of these parameters by clicking the Reset button. Click on the Cursor Effects panel or press the U key to quickly jump to it. Pressing the U key again will cycle through the other tabs on this panel. We'll get to these in a later movie. Cursor effects are applied by dragging the widget onto a clip recorded in Camtasia, and they appear in the effects bars. Initially, they're applied to the entire clip, but you can control the timing of the effect by trimming the ends of the effect or dragging it to another point in your timeline. Let's add all three effects onto our clip and then adjust the timing so that we have each effect happening one after another. The cursor highlight creates a colored circle that follows the mouse movements on screen. In the Properties Inspector, you can set the color for this highlight so that it better matches the theme for your movie. I'll set mine to this nice orange color. Adjust the size to set how large or small you want the highlight to be. Adjust the opacity to make the highlight partially see-through or not. The softness setting blends the edges of the circle into your scene. Ease in and ease out controls the dissolve in and out times for the effect. The cursor spotlight effect is the exact opposite of the highlight. Instead of creating a colored circle around the cursor, it creates a clear circle around the cursor and a colored screen over everything else. For this effect, the color refers to the color of the screen outside of the circle, allowing you to create a colored wash over your scene. I'll reset mine back to black. The size and softness properties work the same as in the cursor highlight, allowing you to make changes to the spotlight itself. The saturation, opacity, and blur sliders all affect the screen area outside of the spotlight. Saturation refers to the color saturation of the area under the screen. Dragging this slider to the left will produce a muted to a full black and white effect with a pop of color inside of the spotlight. I'll reset mine back to 100%. The opacity slider controls the opacity of the screen. Dragging the opacity all the way to the left will make the screen opaque, while dragging it all the way to the right will make it completely transparent, which may look like there's no effect being applied. But remember, you still have the blur slider, which controls the level of a Gaussian blur that's being applied to the screen. Use these three sliders together to create your own custom look. Finally, the cursor magnify effect will create a magnification loop around the cursor, allowing your viewers to see more detail in the area underneath the circular loop. Adjusting the size will allow you to create a larger or smaller loop. The shadow slider creates an internal shadow ring, allowing you to more clearly create a defined separation between the inside and the outside of the loop. Softness creates a gradual transition between the normal movie view outside the ring and the full zoom level inside of the loop. I'll reset mine back to 0. The zoom slider adjusts the percentage of the magnification of the area inside of your loop. One last power user tip. If instead of having the effects bar selected, you have the clip selected, you can then combine any of the cursor effects with the built-in cursor properties of scale and opacity, opening up even more creative potential when telling your story.